Let's take a look at number 3, which says we need to solve by completing the square. Completing the square is a step-by-step process that you will need to have memorized for the exam, and I have written out that process on the right here. So CTS, completing the square. Step number 1, we need to put the equation into this format. Step number 2, we'll calculate b over 2 squared and add it to both sides. Step number 3, we'll factor the left side, either using normal factoring strategies or by using the shortcut, and then we will simplify the right side by combining like terms. And step 4, we will solve using the square root property. So that's a quick rundown of the game plan that we're going to have navigating this problem. But now let's actually do it. So I need to make sure that my equation is in the correct form. I need a leading coefficient of 1, and I also need my plain old constant, the term with no x's, on the right side of the equal sign. Both of those are an issue right now. I've got a leading coefficient of 2, and I've also got this constant, which is on the left side of the equal sign, but I need it on the right side of the equal sign. I'll start by dividing everything by 2. If I divide the entire left side of the equation by 2 and the entire right side of the equation by 2, that gives me a result of x squared plus 4x plus 20 equals 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So that fixes the first issue, needing a leading coefficient of 1, but I do still need to move my constant, which is my positive 20. I need to move that over to the right side. I'll do that by subtracting. I have x squared plus 4x. I'm going to leave some room and put my equal sign way over here, equals negative 20. I'm leaving some room to get ready for the next step. So if I look at where I'm at now, I can see that I do have the correct form. I've got 1x squared plus bx, there's my 1, plus some number times x, equals my constant, in this case a negative 20. Now I need to calculate b over 2 squared and add it to both sides. Whenever you calculate b over 2 squared, you may need to do some scratch work off to the side to figure that out. My b value in this case is the number 4, so that is going to be 4 over 2 squared. We'll calculate this. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 2 squared is 4. So it turns out that we are adding the number 4 to both sides. Now that I have added 4 to both sides, we have finished step number 2, and now I can move on to step number 3, where I need to factor the left side and simplify the right side. I'll start by simplifying the right side. I just need to combine like terms. So if I just do the negative 20 plus 4, that'll give me negative 16. So there we go, right side has been simplified. On the left side, we need to factor x squared plus 4x plus 4. And you can use normal factoring techniques if you want to, like using the big X method that I showed on problem number 1. Or you can actually use this shortcut where it will always factor into a parentheses x plus b over 2 and then close parentheses squared. I put a plus sign right here, but do keep in mind that it really depends on what your b value is. If your b value is negative, then this will really be a minus sign. So I'm going to use the shortcut this time, where I'm going to set up my parentheses. I'm going to put an x on the left side. I'm going to put an exponent of 2 on the right side. And I'm just going to think about what b over 2 is, or b divided by 2. My b value was the number 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and it is positive. So I'm going to be putting a plus 2 on the inside of the parentheses here. If you want to factor this using normal methods, you should end up with the same result. You would get maybe like an x plus 2 times an x plus 2, but really you should write that as x plus 2 quantities squared. Because now this sets us up for the fourth and final step. Even though I have it written as the final step, we do still have a couple steps of algebra to take care of, but this should now look like the previous problem, where we're going to solve using the square root property. Completing the square will always end with using the square root property. So now I'm going to take the square root of both sides, square root of the left, square root of the right. On the left side, the root and the exponent of 2 will just cancel each other out. So I've got x plus 2 equals, and the square root of negative 16. Well, the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of a negative number leaves me with I, the imaginary variable. Square root of negative 1 is I. And then I also need my plus or minus in front because I took the square root. Now I need to get x by itself, but there's just a plus 2 that I need to get rid of. So that's going to be one final step for me to take here. I need to subtract 2 from both sides. And whenever I follow through on that, that's going to give me x equals negative 2 plus or minus 4i. And that should be my final answer. I am going to plug this into the calculator and double check that this is correct. So negative 2 plus 4i is what I think the answer is. Let's clear this out. Negative 2 plus 4, and I shares a button with the decimal point, so second decimal point gives me my I in the calculator. Let's store that into x. And I'm going to type in the left side of the original equation, 2x squared plus 8x plus 40. 2x squared plus 8x plus 40. When I hit enter, I'm expecting to get an answer of 0. And I did. It gave me 0 plus 0i, but that is 0. Now I can check the second answer, because remember that I had a plus or minus in my answer. So negative 2 plus 4i is an answer, and negative 2 minus 4i is an answer. Let's check that. And that also gives me an answer of 0. So we were able to solve this equation by completing the square, and we were able to plug our answer in using the help of our TI-84 to confirm that this is the correct answer.